Hi, Halima here again, and I'm here with the part 2 video from my first video, here to finish the other half. So, what I remember leaving off at was the whole merge quake, and how it was happening so often and stuff. So, I remember, I remember Aaron being upset about the whole merge and how it took his family away and his home, and how he's too afraid to travel the world. And I know Sora said that the merge may have taken everything away from him, but it gave her everything she needed, like the fact that she was able to escape from the Imperium, and how she got to start a new life, and like how she became friends with Aaron. So it was bittersweet. It was good for her, bad for him. So, yeah. And later, I think it was like supposed to be like the next day, and they were going to sign up for the mech race. I think it was like the mech race 5,000 or something like that. And so they're trying to sign up for it, and you see this adorable frog guy who's telling everyone to sign up for the race before it's too late. And then he sees Aaron and Sora, and he's like so happy to see them and stuff. So apparently he knows them and they know him. And so he said like up top, and he like raised his hand, and then she raised hers, and then he like stuck his tongue out and high-fived her hand, which I was not expecting. It was pretty gross and weird, but apparently they're used to it. After all, ever since the merge, they grew up with those creatures. Like skeletons, frogs, snails, all that kind of stuff, all those creatures. So it's pretty much normal to them now. And so they said that they were ready to sign up for the Mech Race 5000. I'm just going to go with Mech Race 5000 if I can remember that. So anyways, they said they were here to sign up for the Mech Race 5000, and he looks at their mech, and he says, like, no offense, but this isn't one of your great inventions, Sora. And so she said that it was easily underestimated, like those two, her and Aaron, because I guess those two are easily underestimated a lot. And so he's trying to kindly say that, like, he's trying to make sure they won't join because he doesn't want them to embarrass themselves or something like that. So he shows and tells them about like the other mechs. He says like there's an underground mech, like the skeleton one, with the skeleton riding in it, and then he's like trying to find another mech to name, and then he sees that like high tech robot-y kind of mech. He just calls it that thing because he didn't know what to say or call it exactly. And then there's this like little tiny robot named Blibbo, I think. Blibbo. And so Aaron says that Blibbo is really nice and friendly, but never bring up his mom because it's a touchy subject. So apparently the touchy subject is that his mom's a jerk because she called him a malfunctioning tin can, which is pretty sad, probably because he always says Blibbo a lot. And then the frog, he said like there was also the regular average mechs, which didn't look all that average. I mean, the paint job was nice. Some of them looked really fancy. I couldn't choose between like the pink one or the like it was like pink with gold little swirls on it. I think it was like super fancy. And then there's a white one with little swirls. It kind of almost looked like an underwater kind of one for like royalty sea creature thingies. So I couldn't choose which one I liked the most. It was a struggle. And then, so he said if they still wanted to join, or he was hoping by then they wouldn't want to join, but those two looked at each other, and then they smiled, and then he just sighed because he just gave up. So then he said that they'd have to pay up. Later you see Aaron sticking out a pie, and then you see the frog smelling it, licking his lips, wanting to eat the pie. And he's like, I know you're not trying to pay with pies again, which shows that they do this way more than I thought. Like, they already did it when they stole the parts, since they didn't have any money, and so now they're doing it to enter the race, because they don't have any money. And they're trying to win the money, so that way they can build everything they dreamed of, a garage and a monastery. So, when he said, I know you're not trying to pay with pies again, Aaron and Sora were fake being like upset and miserable, like, oh well, I guess we're gonna have to throw it away or give it to the dogs and raccoons. But the pie smelled so good and looked so delicious that the frog couldn't help himself, and he's like, okay, you could join. And they gave it to him, and he ate the whole thing. including the pie tin, which he later burped out. And so later you see them walking, and they like push their little mech, and they stop. And then there's this girl with a very interesting taste in fashion, very goofy looking hat, has two minions. I don't know what they're called, but I know they're like those little itchy creatures from Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. Point is, she had those two minions, and she said that they'd let anyone in the race these days. And so they said that they were gonna win, and she was like that she's gonna beat them again, like before, like last time, and the time before that. And then she said like every other time that they've tried to compete with her, and she said that you kids never learn. And so then they say they do learn, and like they get better. And so then they went to do something. I can't remember what it was. But when they left, the fancy hat girl said that she wasn't scared or anything. But then she told one of her minions to pull out like one of the cords for their like boost, like when they need to speed up. So that way, in case they do use it, it will overheat and explode. And then that'll slow them down, and they'll never win. So that's what Harrion did. And later when the race started, they didn't even know. They got inside, and then later they all started racing toward the finish line. And apparently this Mech Race 5000, I actually remembered, apparently this game is very brutal. Like they bump into each other and hit each other and wham and knock, and it's like crazy, so brutal. I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to be like, you race to the finish line, there's going to be some twists and turns, some curves, maybe some loop-de-loops, and then obstacle courses, like ones that are actually on the course, not your opponents that are supposed to be your obstacle course. I was not expecting that at all. That was like their only obstacle course. Nothing on that path except for the other contestants that keep whamming each other and hitting each other and beating each other just to get the money. By the time they get the money, they're going to have to use it just to get like fixed up casts. And more limbs, or new limbs, all that kind of stuff. It's like ridiculous. All for the money. They're wait. It's ridiculous. So desperate for that money that they're willing to bash and bump and break bones just for it. It's so sad. But anyway, so each contestant kept like running into each other, whamming each other, punching each other, knocking each other onto walls and all that kind of stuff. And so apparently Aaron was on the back of the mech, so he could only see the contestants behind them, while Sora was in the front of the mech, so she could only see the contestants in front of her. And so Aaron was asking if they could use the boost, but Sora said not yet. And I was worried when he said that, because like what the girl did, the fancy hat, she sabotaged it, or at least her minion did. So if they used it now, then they'd totally lose and wouldn't get close to the finish line at all. And so I was super worried, but luckily Sora said not yet. So later you see them all like rushing, they get hit, they duck, they punch, they wham, they bump and run into each other, all that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. And then you see like everyone all like knocked down and hurt and stuff, and you see like Blippo passing all the knocked down contestants, saying Blippo avoid obstacle course or contestants or all that kind of stuff, like danger, damage. And so then you see Aaron and Sora ganging up to the fancy hat girl, and even Sora said, we're coming for you, egomaniac fancy hat girl, something like that. And so then the fancy hat girl was not very happy or pleased about this. And so then Aaron was like, now I can use the turbo boost? And she said yes. And then my heart really pounded, because then she said yes, and I was so worried. But then there was like this giant explosion, because it turns out, replay, that underground, it was either underground or it was in Imperium, but you see this guy, I think his name's Triton? I think his name's Triton. He's got weird teeth. He looks weird. He just got weird teeth. He wears shades. I don't think he's human at all. But anyways, so he works with Tritops. It's weird. Tritops. It's so weird. So anyway, so he works with the little Triceratops. And I know he's calling this weird wolf-looking guy, whose name I don't remember. And he's apparently taking orders from this wolf guy. And he was telling the wolf guy that the creature that they've contained in this giant Ben container thing, cage, that he trapped in the cage, was not going to escape or anything. He kept calling it an animal. So sad. I mean, like in a very offensive, rude way, because it wasn't really like a normal animal. It was a dragon, really. It was just a dragon, but he kept calling it like a animal, stupid animal, something like that, as if it's like so lame, disgusting, like it's not a dragon. It's so sad. They're so rude to dragons. It's so sad. Anyways, so the wolf guy told him that his confidence is his weakness. And then later he said, "Do not fail me," and hung up. And then later the Triton said, your kindness, or I said kindness, your confidence is a weakness. And so then he's like, "Well, let me tell you," because he was talking to one of the Triceratops. And he was like, "I don't even know what weakness means," and so, or he never heard of it. And so he's like, the Triceratops was all like, "Really?" Because it's a really common word. And then Triton was like, "No, he's like, I don't even know what the word means." And then he's like, "Oh, well, I can explain it for you." And then Triton got angry and just kicked or punched him. And so then later he walked to the giant crate. Yeah, crate. That's what I was trying to look for. He went to the crate and told the little creature inside, or the dragon, that he wasn't going anywhere. And then later, a couple hours later, it started banging around in the floating crate, and the guy told the dragon to stop, and then it stopped. And you see all the Triceratops coming close, surrounding it, and later you see the door bust open and knock one of them down, and you see it fly and then fall on its face. And then later it gets up and starts running away, and Triton was just staring. He's like, "Get it!" And so they all start chasing it, and that's when the explosion happened, and that's when Aaron and Sora saw little Ryu here, baby Ryu. Isn't he adorable? He's so cute. Anyways, so or that's when Sora, actually, because Aaron was in the back, so he couldn't really see Ryu. But anyway, so Sora saw Ryu, and she looked and was shocked and couldn't believe that a dragon was in the course. And later you see lasers shooting up from the ground where the explosion was, and then you see the baby dragon running away. And so then you see Sora saying, or no, Aaron said, "What are we waiting for? Let's Aaron reach the finish line," because they were really close. It's just they were really close. They could have just drove a little more, I don't know, a few feet. Could have drove a little more, and then they would have won. But the poor little baby Ryu was being attacked, and they were so close. It was so sad. I was really hoping that wouldn't happen. I was really hoping they'd win and get the money, but that's how some shows work. But anyways, because they're so close to winning the money, but then there's something in the way that stops them from getting the money, and then they have to leave the competition or what they're so close to getting anyways, and then later someone else gets it, even though they were that close. Anyways, so Sora said that they had to save the little baby dragon. And she said that the ones that were chasing the baby dragon were from Imperium. They were the claws of Imperium. And so he was like, "But we have to win." And she's like, "They're going to torture that little baby dragon." And she's like, "Aaron, what would the ninjas do?" So then he froze, and then he put on Lloyd's dirty mask. And so he said, "Let's go save that little baby dragon." So they left the course, even though they could just hurry and went a little further into the finish line and then save the dragon, because they weren't that far. But they wanted to save the dragon. Anyway, so they left, and then later you see Blippo come, and he makes this big jump, because part of the crate was on the Fancy Hat girl, so it made it a little ramp. There we go. Made a ramp, so he was able to go up and land pretty close to the finish line, and he made it, and he won. And that's when he said, "Blippo won. How's that for a malfunctioning tin can, mother?" So that's how you know that his mother said that he's a malfunctioning tin can, which is really sad. And then later you see Aaron and Sora try to save the little baby dragon Ryu, and they're going in this big, epic, crazy fight. And then that's when Sora decided to use the boost, the speeding boost, so that way they could beat these bad guys. Unfortunately, that's when they found out that it was messed with and exploded, and they fell off the bridge, and yeah. But I'm running out of time again, so I'll have to do another video. So, hope you enjoy.